Hey, I'm Adam Weiler here with Roy Moorjohn from Enventys Partners. We're going to be learning about crowdfunding and what you should be doing if you are an up-and-coming brand on today's episode of Behind the Stone. Roy, how's it going? Why don't you take a few moments to introduce yourself, your background, why people should actually care about what you have to say when it comes to products and brands.
Well, Adam, it's a pleasure. I know we've known each other for years, so really excited to be on your show. Thank you for being a guest on my podcast, Art of the Kickstart. Why should people?
Nice plug.
Why should people care about what I say? Well, my kids don't, but in the business side of things, usually what I say carries some weight, I guess. But I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since a very early age in terms of, like hustling my friends in the neighborhood to pay green fees to play golf in my front yard and selling them golf balls and golf tees to play along with it, right? But then, taking that a step further, and then after golf, we would then gamble on the Price is Right and be like, who can get the closest price? And we'd be betting quarters and nickels and all that kind of stuff. But, from there, it really sparked a passion for me in terms of creating a community. And that's kind of what I led myself into and learned how to code Visual Basic, C++ when AOL first came out in the early 90s.
Oh, wow.
Started some groups there, got myself into trouble, ended up, then going and consulting at MSN before I was 20. And then that kind of led me, down the computer route, the marketing route, those sorts of things where, I was setting up networks at my college, as the highest paid collegiate student, there going to school and paying for, college and all of that. And once I finished college, I basically jumped around to a few different agencies, realized I didn't like the way that they were set up, the model that they had in terms of billables and the services that they were doing. So I finally started my own agency in 2007, focusing on a lot of the corporate clients that were out there utilizing social media as that new shiny tool that they should have all been using or start using in terms of, recruiting new talent and bringing them in, retaining the talent that they have there to be a workplace that people want to be at, but also looking at their rankings in terms of all the social signals and the authority that these sites were passing through. So I ended up doing that for 3 years before I exited that business and started my next agency that really focused then on startups and helping startups with the marketing that they needed to get the word out there. Because
why did you make that transition? What was going on inside you that
enterprises are tough to work with? From long payment terms to long lead cycles to getting them closed. And then by the time you wanted to institute something on social media, it had to go through legal and accounting and 18 different departments. And by then it was done, right? There was nothing fast like social media the way it works today. And it was just more of a frustration where I couldn't really do the things that I wanted to do to move the needle for these bigger companies. And I can definitely do that with startups and test and try out a whole lot more things. And that's what kind of led to that pivot, Adam, in terms of shifting away from big businesses to helping the little guys out with getting the word out for them.
Okay, awesome. So then this is a few years ago, you moved to a smaller avatar as far as who you're working with, and what are you doing for them, and how's that going?
Yeah, so it's been amazing, honestly, really being able to move the needle for these startups and provide and be like their marketing arm, not only like the CMO role, but all of the other elements of marketing, right? There's so many different, experts in each of these individual fields, right? Like you guys are experts in Amazon, but you subtract out of that, there's so many different categories out of that, right? In terms of things that you can be an expert in. So from a marketing perspective, we're a one-stop shop. And that's kind of what led us 6 years ago now to merge with a product development firm to be a true one-stop shop for launching products into the world. And that's how we've gotten into, the crowdfunding space from a rewards perspective on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo, and proving market valuability for, ideas and the products that are wanting to come to market to see if there actually is enough traction in the market for people to pre-purchase that product. So, that's kind of that's, where I'm at today in terms of launching products and innovations for folks and being a true one-stop shop for the inventor community.
Love it. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay. And from, and in our Behind the Stone podcast, we like to take the role of a scrappy startup. Maybe you've got over that couple $1 million revenue mark. You've found you know you have some product market fit, or you're just so good and so tenacious that you have battled your way to a couple million. What have you seen the companies that have kind of crossed the chasm to mainstream acceptance, that have been able to scale efficiently? What are the ones that have been able to do that have in common? And then what are the mistakes that companies that haven't crossed that and made the leap had in common as well? And feel free to hop back and forth or do them each as separate questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, from personal experience, from crossing that chasm, as you say, the biggest learning that I had was getting everything out of my head and onto paper, right? From how to do all of the roles, how to do all of the things, or do them the way that I think they should be done, which sometimes is the right way. And sometimes I learn from those things, right? And I'm, being educated along the way by the team that I've hired on. But one of the biggest things that really helped our agency grow and be one of the fastest growing companies in Charlotte for 3 years was the fact that, I was able to hire the right people that could then take all of the things out of my head, put them on paper, and build out a process around all of these things. So, we're an agency that's utilized the EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, from, just basically understanding and putting a framework in, because I think that was one of the biggest things that was holding our company back, was the fact that there wasn't a process for all of this, and all of the employees knew what their roles were, but not necessarily the big picture. Like, where are we headed? Where's the puck going, right? Like, why are we doing it? What's our why, right? And that really helped reframe the company, the agency, as well as helped empower the employees in terms of knowing exactly what they're doing and how they're helping all of our customers and clients as well. So just personally speaking, that was probably one of the biggest things that we could do, was get it on paper. And then I think once you're achieving success and doing millions of dollars in revenue, it's then a matter of really, it's where do you want to be, or what do you want with this company? Do you want it to be a $10 million company, a $50 million company, or are you comfortable at that $3 to $5 million stage where it's a nice brand and you get to have free time and you're not necessarily stressed about getting to that next level and figuring out, can we keep growing or scaling, or how do we trim off, another 0.5% for margin for everything that we're doing? Like, there are great companies and brands and businesses out there that do $2 to $3 million a year, and the business owner's happy, right? And that's okay.
I think that's a great point too. So let's how are you deciding that? How have you seen people make that decision? How have you seen them choose? And I can share an anecdote after you go as well.
Well, I think a big thing for me, again, personally speaking, was, starting a family years ago, right? Like that was a big shift for me in terms of overall responsibility, not only to my family, but now all the employees that I have, in terms of making sure that I can provide for everyone, right? Not only my own family, but all of my employees and their families and all of that. So it just naturally had to continue to grow, because we were just getting so much inbound requests. We're seeing hundreds of requests a day for people that want to work with us. And we're so fortunate, because we have such great word of mouth and all of our case studies and our history, and the fact that we've worked with so many different inventors around the world, people continue to come to us. And I think, as you're scaling and growing your brand, the demand has to be there, right, for the things that you're doing, the service that you're providing, or else it's just going to dry up and you're going to be spending more and more money on acquisition, which we all know that it's only getting more and more expensive to advertise and to get the word out there for your product, for your service, for whatever it may be. And at some point you may reach, that barrier, that ceiling, in terms of, okay, we are a $2 to $3 million business, and that's okay. How do we build or grow or stay where we're at and be comfortable with, the clients that we have, and make sure that we're over servicing them, or, over providing to our customers and doing everything possible, to maintain the company and the growth that we need.
When my first kid popped out, there was something inside that was like, okay, well, now you got to go provide. And we had the business before, but something internally was like go kill some meat and bring it back to the cave. Internally, I don't know if you felt something similar, where I was, my Becky was like, what are you doing working at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.? And I just couldn't change anything. I couldn't even help it, because it was like so ingrained in me.
I can so vividly remember the moment I brought my daughter home, We brought her upstairs, and I had like the little carrier from the car and put her down, and then immediately opened up my laptop and went straight to work because it was on the kitchen table. And I was like, let's go. And my wife was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I got to provide. Let's go. You know, there was 2 mouths. Now there's 3 mouths, you know, like, not that you don't like plan for a lot of these things. Obviously you got a ramp up to this, but still it absolutely does hit you. I think, you know, mostly for the entrepreneur side of things in terms of, all right, this is what I got to do now. Right. And it's just go time. Right. And you just focus on that in terms of making sure that you're providing.
So the life hack out of this interview is saying have a child, because that will motivate you more than any coffee or microdosing or any productivity hack you can ever have.
I think it's just great too from a perspective point, right? Like I've got a lot of young employees. Many of them are having children, their first kids or now second kids. And it really helps me actually as a leader, be able to have those conversations with them about the struggles of being an adult and being a parent and all of the trouble that they're going through, and being able to empathize with the situation that they're in, or that their kid is sick or whatever it may be, like full flexibility around that. And it's also aided us in improving our workplace benefits in terms of, more time off and long-term, short-term disability, and like being able to help out people that are having kids. And we have a large company, right? So it's like we have to be able to make sure, because I think the overall labor laws in America are terrible for anybody that's going to have a child. And it's just like, okay, well then I have to do this, right, for my employees, because I care about them. I want them to have families if that's what they want to do. And I need to make sure that I can provide for them so that they can actually be at home and take care of their kids and not stress about, having enough money or, doing all of the things that they want to do for their child in the future.
Yeah, I think, we implemented what consultants and HR people are like, this is the most generous maternity leave they'd ever seen. And it's like, and what was the difference, or what was the delta between a standard policy versus like the great policy? It was like a few weeks, like a month extra, right? And it's like, so for a month, someone's time, you get someone who's like so committed and so happy and like can take that time to recharge and reset. It's like, it's totally worth it. Yes. Are we a little more stressed out when they leave and have to transfer the work? Oh, sure, but we make it work.
Yeah. And I think, again, that goes down to the processes of writing things down and making sure that everybody's role, what they're doing, and that they're passing all of that on. Like we have this all the time now. Like I have lots of young employees, many women that are, starting to have children, start their families and all of that. And I think it's amazing and it's great. And I encourage it. But we do the hard work ahead of times in terms of, okay, who's covering this client, who's covering that, what does that timeline look like? Okay, it's going to be this amount of time. What does all that look like? And then talk with sales in terms of, okay, we've got all these products that are launching, or all these clients that we're going to be working with. Do we need to hire up, hire down? How far in advance should we start training someone new in these positions? All of those sorts of things. Like we're very adept to that. Like agility is one of our core values. And this is, absolutely plays into that to make sure that, next person up, right?
Love it.
In terms of, okay, you can do this and you've been trained on this, but we're prepared for all of that.
Love it. And so EOS, have a child. That's where we're big bullet points right now. Now, let's talk about crowdfunding. Let's talk about reward-based crowdfunding or market validation, or let's bring it to market validation, and crowdfunding can be one component of that. But you're a company, you've had success with your first product, and you're considering market extensions, you're considering new variations, you're considering line extensions. So what's some advice you give to entrepreneurs? How could they test it fast, easy, cheap, fail fast? And, what path would you recommend on that? You're kind of the king of validation.
Yeah. They call me the king of crowdfunding, Adam.
Wow. Where's the crown?
No, but for us, I mean, again, we've launched 2,200 different products now into the marketplace. I love stats, I love numbers, so I'll give them to you. We've crossed over 350 million in capital raised just on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo alone. Our overall product sales are over $1 billion for all the clients and products that we've worked with now.
Wow.
And we've had 36 of our clients get on Shark Tank. So, we've seen a lot. We know all of the paths and all of the steps that it takes, whether you're a first-time inventor, entrepreneur, or this is your second, third, fifth product, whatever it may be. We know all the steps, all the elements. We have all the factories, we have all the sourcing, the main, like truly one-stop shop. So for someone that's coming to us, let's say as a first timer, right? Or, I'll answer your question. I won't make it my own. So you said someone that's already launched a product, thinking of like extensions or something like that. So let's assume then, for my sake, that their first product that they launched, they used crowdfunding, right? And now they potentially either want to go back to crowdfunding or just go direct to consumers through their website or onto Amazon, right? So if they launched their first project on Kickstarter, likely they used us because they wanted to have the most success out there, right? So when they did
let's say they didn't know you. They hadn't heard about you, and they hadn't watched this before. Okay. What were some things they should have done to ensure a successful campaign? What are those top 5 bullets? I'm sure you get asked all the time.
Yeah, I mean, number one is research, right? When we first started launching crowdfunding campaigns back in 2011, 10 years ago now, it was the wild, wild west, and you could kind of launch anything, right? Like even like potato salad, right? Like you could launch literally anything. But now there's been over 200,000 successful campaigns on just Kickstarter alone, right? Out of that, you can do research on what your product or your idea is. Likely there's 2 or 3 things that are on there that maybe have 3 of your unique selling points of one, and maybe a couple on one, a couple of other. Likely, it's really tough to create something brand new and innovative. Likely most of the stuff is, a couple iterations better than what's out there, right? Or they completely find a brand new market. And I can talk about, a case study of a campaign that we did a few million for, that was a whole new market that we had no idea existed until then. So first and foremost, research, right? That's the thing that you have to start with, is in terms of what did they do, who covered them, what did they do on social media, what were their price points, what did their video look like, maybe go back and look at their ad archives and see what they were doing there in terms of what ads did they keep running. There's so many tools out there now, right? To be able to do all of this research. And it's just amazing that you can find out pretty much the entire launch plan, path, method of every startup out there, from the biggest companies that do crowdfunding all the time, like a Peak Design, to the smallest companies that are just using crowdfunding to do market validation testing and see if there truly is an audience out there. So
that's killer. That is, I mean, I just want to pause on that, because that's the value, like that's the mic drop moment of, with Google and Facebook and looking at what they did, you could pretty much map out exactly who covered them, exactly how they launched, exactly what ads they were doing, and with the intent, I'm assuming, to better all of those, or to use that momentum and for your campaign.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like marketing itself is just a data process, right? In terms of, looking at the data and analyzing it, and then trying to, exploit that data with already these existing public desires that you've already put out there, right? And it's just a matter of matching these things together, and really more or less that amplification effect, of all of those elements together, in terms of driving you based on what you said and what you like and all of these things. We can find you and advertise to you products that we think that you will like, right? But again, that's the biggest, and I think every product company should be using crowdfunding, period. Like,
talk to me, why? Like, how come?
Because, first and foremost, you actually get to talk to your customers, right? Like, they actually can have engagement with you on the platform one-on-one in terms of asking for feedback, or why did you make it this way? Or maybe you could tweak it this way, right? It gives you that one-to-one opportunity to talk to your customers. Like, I rarely ever get surveys from anything that I buy, just buy it from the website, get it, cool. And now I'm just on their email chain, but I'm not getting asked any advice. I'm not being like, did you really enjoy it? Like, what'd you enjoy it the most? Is there anything that you would change on this? Any colors, like any features? We're thinking of launching the next version of it. How would you improve it? I can't think of one company right now that I'm getting emails from or requests from to ask how to improve their product for the next time, unless
Yeah.
it really sucks. And then I'm messaging them and telling them I either want a refund or like these things should be fixed because it's broken. Like that's really it. Like the opportunity that crowdfunding brings every company, from an enterprise company like GE that's running a campaign right now, to the smallest of companies, that are just looking at it from a market test validation standpoint. Nothing speaks louder than people's credit cards willing to pre-purchase a product without having an experience with it, right? They're not able to go to the store and, touch it, feel it, press the buttons on it, smell it, put it on their face, like all of those things, right? That you get from a retail experience. With crowdfunding, they're pre-purchasing it. And they want to go along for the journey of, how this thing gets made. They want to see, all of that. So, there's just so many different ways, that I love crowdfunding just because of those, couple elements of it, but there are so many more,
And what if what if you think like, oh, my product or my industry doesn't lend itself to crowdfunding? What do you say to people that come to you with that?
There's only a few, right? Like service-based businesses don't do well from a reward crowdfunding standpoint. Apps typically don't do well either. Anything that's software-based usually is not going to do well. People, backers, the community that's on Kickstarter, it's 20 million strong, with about 70% of that here in the United States.
Wow.
Those folks want physical products. They want the next greatest gadget before it comes out, or the next game before it comes out, or the next fashion, tech, consumable, CPG. That is what they are there for. And they are looking for all the next great stuff before it goes on the shelves of Target and Best Buy or wherever else it may be, Walmart, etc. Like this is where they have that opportunity to get the exclusive reward. And usually it's at a massive discount too, right? Anywhere from 50 to 80% off what it may do in retail. I mean, we had a client that ran a campaign. They pre-sold the unit for $200. Now it's selling for $999, like $1,000 for this product. And I'm like, great. I got a deal. I got to give them some feedback. I got the first products off the shelf. And now I'm one of their beta testers and I get a lifetime discount on all of their products. Like, and similar to like what you were able to do with your equity crowdfunding raise, Adam, is tap into your customers, bring them into the fold, and now they're your biggest brand evangelist for you to bring you more business because they want to see it succeed, because they feel like they not only do they own a piece of the business, but they own, they have the opportunity to speak with you, the creator.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, that save that for another podcast, but we'll do an episode on that. Yeah, that quite the experience. Pretty awesome. So okay, you've got this, you've ran. Obviously they've worked with you because you guys are the best, or they've done it on themselves and had mixed results, or some kind of option they've got some data.
Sure.
What's that last step, and we'll close up. What do the successful brands have in common? What do the successful products have in common? What do the non-successful products have in common after they've done that initial crowdfunding? They've delivered on their product and go. It's like, here they are.
Well, I mean, there's a huge amount of work, Adam, that goes in between there, and I know you just glossed over it.
I totally did. I did.
I respect to the creators and the entrepreneurs and the startup founders and the inventors that are out there, because it is a ton of work to one, successfully finish a crowdfunding campaign and raise capital from a crowd that likely none of them ever knew of you or knew of your idea before they ever saw an ad or a PR placement or whatever it may be, to you finally getting the funding, and then all of that time of actually going along and making that thing. One of the things that we see during that chasm, Adam, is not constantly communicating with your community that is your opportunity at least every single month to kind of give them an update, because they do want to go along for the journey with you. They want to see how the cheese is made or how the beer gets made, right? And those sorts of things. So you've got to keep them engaged. But once you deliver that product, it's all about customer service at that point and making sure, because it's extremely difficult for a first timer to go through all of those elements, especially on their own, right? Like there are so many things that you have to be an expert in, from obviously the big pain points right now of shipping and logistics and getting E4, which is not going to happen, right? But making sure that, again, you're setting expectations with your crowd, with the community that was willing to buy your thing. But again, let's fast forward. You just shipped your product out. Amazing. People are loving it. All of that. Now it's time to get feedback. right? It is time to keep that loop going in terms of a feedback cycle of you had a chance to experience it, use it, rub it on your face, whatever it may be. How do we make this better? How does it work? Is it as you thought it was going to be? You know, how are you using this product? Maybe it's different from what we thought about, you know, in terms of those things. So really it's, again, trying to keep that feedback loop going with your customers and saying, okay, how do we make this better the next time we launch this? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? What are your interests? You know, what are some of those demographic or psychographic or spending habits or interests, or what bands do they like all of those sorts of things, so you can really build out better avatars now. Because when you launch a campaign, you have a pretty good idea of who they may be, but it can change violently during the campaign in terms of what the actual crowd looks like that's backing this thing. And it's really important to understand your customer through this entire process, because what you thought at the beginning point of this campaign and what ended and who you shipped to could be, and most likely is, drastically different from what your onset was. Now it's that time to shift into, okay, what product extensions out of this one fits my current crowd? Not the crowd I thought I was going to have, but the current one that actually bought this thing before they actually had a chance to experience it. So that's where all the opportunity lies, is communicating with that crowd and building out products that, you know, fit into that community.
Love it. Get that feedback cycle going, and then launch additional products, sell them additional products like they are your raving fans.
Yeah. I mean, plus there's all those collaborations that you can then start doing with brands and products that now fit that customer avatar, right? So then it's,
love that.
you know, a matter
of great idea.
Collaborations, right? And be like, oh, you bought this, you also probably like this company and this company and this company. Let's figure out what the big giveaway could be, or the big contest, or the big thing, right? So you can start collaborating with all these other startup brands that are all in the same position as you, likely doing a few $1 million in revenue. But then you have the opportunity to start sharing audiences together, right? And then that's where magic can happen.
Love it. Love it. Roy, tell them, obviously you've given a ton of value. If people want to get your content or even potentially work with you, where can they go? Where can they find more information?
Lots of spots, Adam. Well, first and foremost, let me say it's been an honor to be a guest on your show and speak to your audience. Really, really appreciative of that. You can just Google my name, Roy Morejon, Morejon. You can find all of my things and socials and all of that. My company, Enventys Partners, is spelled ENVENTYS, partners.com. Got a great blog, tons of resources that are on there. If you want to listen to me more every week, I have a podcast called Art of the Kickstart, where I interview really cool, inspiring founders and entrepreneurs that are launching their products out there. And then if you want to see all of the products that we're launching out into the world, subscribe to our newsletter at producthype.co.
Oh, that's awesome. Mic drop right there. So I love that you just give it all away too. There's a ton of great content out there. Go look up Roy and get all of his great ideas, and he's got tons of them. So thanks for joining, and thanks for another episode of Behind the Stone.
If you really want to level up your e-commerce strategy, then watch this video next. It's called the 5 Proven E-commerce Marketing Strategies to 10x Your E-com Business. And you'll learn insider secrets from Tanner Tozan, our CEO, Adam Weiler, on how to scale 7- and 8-figure e-com businesses.